This is the RV Advisor Podcast with your host, Tom Alexander. Get all the latest information, trends, advice from experts, stories from the road, and more in the world of recreational vehicles. Now, here's Tom.
Welcome to the RV Advisor Podcast. My name is Tom Alexander, and I'm joined today by meteorologist Ashley Gann. She is based in Birmingham, Alabama at CBS 42. And Ashley, welcome.
Thank you for having me. Glad to be a part of the show today.
Well, it's wonderful to have you on because, you know, this is interesting. People like yourself, broadcasters and entertainment people and people in the public eye, you know, we wonder sometimes, you know, hey, I wonder how they're doing. What do they do? How are they getting through all this craziness in a world which none of us have ever have experienced at any point? You know, it's just incredible. So first of all, how are you doing and how is your family?
Well, our family's great. Both my husband and I have what are deemed essential jobs, so we're very grateful to be employed. My husband and I are also business owners too, so we are managing a lot with that, making sure that our staff is covered and taken care of. Right. And our kids are healthy, so we've got three little ones, 6 and under, so a 6-year-old, 4-year-old, and an 18-month-old.
Oh, boy.
So, but we're all healthy, so we have so much to be grateful for during this kind of crazy time that we're living in.
Yeah. I'm certainly happy to hear that, and it is a crazy time. It's uncharted territory for everyone. I've been saying this with our guests here in the last few weeks that we've been connecting with, and you know, we're all just sort of trying to figure it out and seeing what's next, right?
Truly. I mean, and with such uncertainty, I know for a lot of folks it's probably creating a little bit of anxiety and all those things. So we're just trying to keep a really steady schedule for us and our kids and try to maintain as much normalcy as possible. And The teachers at our kids' school have been great and have been doing Zoom calls with them in the morning, and so they still get to see their teachers and their classmates.
Yep.
So it's in a kind of a fun way that we're in media. Like, it's actually kind of neat that my young kids get to kind of experience a little bit of an adult world.
Yeah.
And the fact that this is how we do business. This is how we actually operate in a real world. And now they're applying it to their education. Yeah. So it's kind of been fun to watch the transition even for them.
Yeah, I'm sure. My wife is a math teacher, and she's doing the same thing with her students. Everything is virtual, and Zoom is now the new. It's it's the gateway. It's the portal to communication. It's pretty wild.
If only we bought stock in it sooner, right?
Oh, man, I'm telling you. I know. That's you just can't. We don't all have the foresight for that, but, you know. So you're in an RV park, and you're in an RV, a fifth wheel. Tell us a little, first of all, what do you have? Tell us about your RV.
Yeah, so we have a Grand Design Solitude, and I have to confess, it's glamping. Like, we're not roughing it. It has 2 full bathrooms. We've got a bunkhouse for the kiddos, residential-sized refrigerator, a little island. So we've got a good amount of living space, all things considered. So it's a 40-footer. It's a fifth wheel. My husband, though, is 6'6", so he kind of always jokes. He was like, Ashley, I've always wanted a tiny house. So a little backstory. I've always wanted a tiny house. He said, I can't fit in a tiny house, Ashley. There's no way this is ever going to happen. Well, then, you know, a couple years ago, he wanted a bigger truck. So I started to dangle the carrot of fifth wheels. And I'm like, well, let's just go walk around and let's look and see. Finally, he fitted one. I'm like, well, if we get the fifth wheel, you know what you're going to have to get, your big truck. So I got my tiny house and he got his big truck, and it's happily ever after.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's great. That's great. And it's close enough to the TV studio for you it's not too far away?
Yeah, so here's the really nice thing. For anyone that ever wants to come visit Central Alabama, Birmingham is a fantastic city. It's a thriving little dot on the map, and I've always said it's the biggest small town in America.
Yeah.
It's got all of the feels of a small town, but it's got all of the amenities of a big city and a metropolitan city. Right. But one really cool thing about Birmingham is right in the middle of the city is a state park. It's 10,000 acres.
Wow.
It used to be federally owned land, and then the state took over the additional kind of like 9,000 acres. And so it's kind of managed in part both federal and state funding. and it's beautiful. It's got lakes and trails, and it's in the valley of a mountain. So the campground actually sits on a hillside, and it's in this very wooded area. So it's just off the interstate, and so I literally pop on the interstate, head up north about 15 miles, and I'm at work. So it's an easy commute to work, and it's just a straight shot down the highway to my kids' school as well. Now, they're in a private school, so that makes it a little easier. Yeah. We will be transitioning next year for them to go into public school, so we will actually be buying a house. We sold our house, the process of selling a house, and so we'll kind of move out of the RV and transition into a lake house this summer. But that's kind of the cool thing about being RV owners is you have that flexibility, right? So you can choose when you want to live in it full time, and you can choose when you want it to literally just be recreational. So we're going to be making that change this summer. Oh,
well, that's good. That's good. Yeah. And so you've got it all planned out. It sounds like you even though we're all of us are dealing with this crazy situation, you guys are sounds like the adjustments pretty good for you guys.
Well, and I will say, so we moved into the RV about the first of the year. So late November, December, we put our house in the market, and we decided we got to stage it and all of that. It's hard to live in a house that you're trying to sell with 3 little people.
Yeah.
So we just went ahead and made the decision, let's just go ahead and move into the RV full time, and we'll just live in that until the house sells, and then we'll just kind of figure out plan B. Mm-hmm. We were planning on building a house and all that. Long story short, we stayed in it, and I really, truly believe that making that decision at the end of last year prepared us for what we're going through now. Because what did we do? We cleaned out our house, we cleaned out storage, we minimized, we sold. And then over the last few months, we've really been doing soul searching and figuring out what's really most important and valuable for our family. And it has been totally transformative. I told people, even before this whole COVID-19 mess, I said, this has been the best decision our family has ever made because it's made us get back to what's fundamentally what's most important for us. Yeah. So that makes us spend our time on what matters most. And so I've gotten rid of so much of the stuff and the clutter that you just accumulate. And we don't have a particularly large home. I mean, we had a modest 3-bedroom, 2.5 bath. I mean, it wasn't a big house, but somehow we filled every nook and cranny with stuff,
Right.
And it's kind of amazing when you clear all that out and you only take what you need to an RV. It's life-changing. So I really feel like our transition into COVID-19 has really been living the life we've lived for the last 3 months. So the biggest disruption for us and the biggest challenge is the kids are home now. Because I did say that in when I blogged about living in my RV is that, or on Instagram, that I would just talk about, well, my kids aren't home during the day. So we did a time inventory of how much time we're at home. Well, that's changed a little bit. So in fairness, we've popped back over to our house that's it's under contract, but it's got a little bit more space, so we are able to conduct school a little bit at the house when we need to kind of break away and get a little bit more space. So we have that luxury right now.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think we learned so many lessons in living in the RV that really kind of are helping us right now.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's if you've got you got to jump start on the situation, so the adjustment might be a little bit a little smoother. So that's a good thing. We want to learn a lot more about what you do, Ashley Gann, the meteorologist, and also I know you've got some very interesting things you do just in general in life and places you've been and things you've done. So we're going to find out about all of that stuff. Our guest is Ashley Gann. She is the meteorologist at CBS 42 in Birmingham, Alabama. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. Back in just a moment. Don't let a road hazard ruin your fun. Get the #1 rated tire and wheel protection service from the RV Advisor. Starting at just $180 per year, it's affordable and dependable, no matter where you are. Get tire and wheel protection for 4-wheel, 5, 6, and 7 to 10-wheel vehicles, including RVs, towed vehicles, personal vehicles, horse trailers, bike trailers, motorcycles, and more. Visit thervadvisor.com or call 833-229-0911. That's 833-229-0911. We are back on the RV Advisor Podcast. My name's Tom Alexander, and we're speaking with Ashley Gann. She is the meteorologist at CBS 42, Birmingham, Alabama, the great city of Birmingham. And, as a weather person, I would think that, look, let's be honest. A lot of people are just in their homes all day. They don't get out as much as they normally would. So it's a little blunt, but do you find that people aren't quite as, deeply concerned about the weather as they are under normal circumstances?
Yeah, so it's been kind of interesting, and even at work, right? So news is the top story every day of the COVID-19 crisis, and you kind of feel like weather gets buried a little bit.
Yeah.
But what's interesting, so
forget it if you're sports, by the way. If it's sports, you don't have anything. It's just it's Deadsville.
Our poor sports folks have been transitioned back into the news department, and they're like lost puppies wandering around. Like, what am I supposed to do with my life?
Yeah.
At least we have something we can talk about each day.
Right.
The weather, by and large, has been pretty uneventful here. We've had a couple of severe weather events, so that's one of the things I'm trying to remind people of, especially in the Southeast, is that, hey, I know you're watching and you're like COVID focused right now, but don't forget it's severe weather season. This is our peak severe weather season down here in the Southeast.
Right.
So, any given day, we could go from sunny weather by morning to storms and tornadoes by afternoon.
Yeah.
So, but what's really fascinating about that, this entire shelter-in-place social distancing is forcing people to be at home much more.
Yeah.
There was an EF3 tornado that hit Jonesboro, Arkansas last weekend, and actually there were no significant injuries and 0 fatalities. For an EF3 tornado, it's unheard of.
Wow.
And we really actually believe that because of this COVID-19 crisis and the coronavirus forcing people inside, it actually saves lives. So there's kind of an interesting juxtaposition to the whole thing from just a crisis communication standpoint. So I do crisis communication when we're talking severe weather. But when it comes to sunny days, I am also, if there's anything to be grateful for with this crisis, it's that it's at least in the spring months here for us, and the weather is so much more bearable. Had it been a couple of months ago, it was raining every single day. I think people would be losing their minds.
Yeah.
So at least right now, other than just the occasional severe weather threat, the in-between days are very nice, and it's quiet. So that's good.
Well, we're based here in South Florida, and so we're no stranger to severe weather.
Right.
The 2 o'clock, you can almost set your watch by the 2 o'clock afternoon thunderstorm. Yeah. And it's oh yeah, and where we live just a stone's throw away from the Everglades. So that it's beautiful, but of course, a lot of storms form out there over the glades, and then they roll in, and man, it's just like end times kind of. you look at the sky, and it's a nightmare, but we power through. Of course, we're rewarded with great winters here. But tell us a little bit, Ashley, about your background. I know meteorology, obviously, and but you've done a lot more.
Yeah, so my background's in meteorology. My undergraduate degree is in aerospace engineering. So I always say if the whole weather thing doesn't work out, I can always fall back on being a rocket scientist. It's a good fallback degree.
It's just rocket science. That's all it is. It's just rocket science.
I haven't exercised that card yet, but it's there if needed. So then I went on to grad school in meteorology. It's really kind of what my passion was. I've always enjoyed atmospheric science in general. So did that for, I've been doing that now for almost 15 years.
Yeah.
So it's really the only profession I've ever known. But through that journey, one of the things, I've had the opportunity to become the chief meteorologist. So I'm the only chief meteorologist in the city of Birmingham in the state of Alabama. I was the first one in the state of Alabama about a decade ago. And only 8% of all chief meteorologists in the United States are women. And so this fact got me thinking a lot about why, and then it started to reveal to me that this isn't just something that's in television. This is kind of an industry standard that by the time women are expected to go to that next, level in their career, sometimes they're leaving the career for personal reasons or the work environment, a lot of different reasons. So I started investigating this, and I have actually become a staunch speaker on how to retain women in business and really how to get women to climb that corporate ladder and dealing with things like gender equity versus equality. We have a really big mindset on things being equal, but what we forget about is that maybe everybody's situation may look a little bit different. Where equality is great, that's our end goal. The way to get there is through this notion of equity. And so I was trying to teach that to corporations, and not only just in the broadcast world, but in the professional industry as well. So I actually am now on a speaking circuit where I go and talk to major companies, organizations, everywhere from civic groups to Fortune 500 companies just about how we can harness the power of women and understanding why they're an important asset to have and how they actually bring more revenue to a business and create a lot more progress for a company. So that's been something I've been really just has been on my heart and been very inspired to talk about. And now that I've got young children of my own, I've got 2 girls and a little boy, and I want them to always know that the world is their oyster. They can do anything that they absolutely put their mind to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's really fun for me to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's interesting because I actually do a lot of different podcasts, and one of the ones I do is I co-host a business podcast, and equity is a big thing. I mean, it's talked about a lot in what we do. We've had a lot of leaders, gender equity, leaders coming on and talking about the movement and the advances that have been made. And obviously there's a lot of work left, obviously, but it's a very, very important topic. And it's wonderful that you're championing that and you're helping lead the way and speaking with other women about all the possibilities. So it's terrific. Yeah. Thank you. So it's great. With going back and forth from, going, mom mode and being in the family with the RV and then, going to work, I would imagine to some degree amidst all this, COVID craziness, it's got to be a little, some days maybe a little more challenging, stressful than others.
Oh, it can be. I mean, and the hardest thing for us is just managing all of the kids' new schedules at home. So now I've become a lesson preparer. I've become a school teacher. Yeah. I've become, their organizer of scheduling. I've become the home assistant. It's like all of these things, but it all happens so fast. And, if you silo each of them, you're like, okay, I can do that. I can do this. But then you're like, okay, you find out within 48 hours that this becomes your new job for the next 12 weeks. And it can take your breath away.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be stressful.
Yeah. Let me ask you, if folks want to, because now with internet and all the television stations have their videos available online and everything, people can, no matter where they are in the country, they can see you on CBS 42, right?
Yes, they can. You can stream us. You can download our app. CBS 42 is our app, and you can also head over to my website. It's just ashleygann.com.
And that's 2 N's, right? Gann.
Two N's. That's right. Just remember, with Gann you can, but with 2 N's. Yes, so right. ASHLEYGANN.com. And that's where it has all of speaking stuff, and that you can connect with me there. It has direct links to all of my websites and all my social media, which is at Gann Weather on all social platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I even have a TikTok now. That's the kids. That's our thing. Yeah. We do dances with the kids now, so that's become a fun little new thing that we do since we've been in captivity the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. I'm hearing TikTok all the time, and I've yet to really explore it, but I guess that's
fun.
It's fun, huh? That's next on the list, I guess. At least that's what I'm told I need to be, doing. It's funny because it's almost like app du jour. You're trying to figure out what's next and what's the hot thing, and then just the second is just as I'm getting the grip on it, it's like now it's old news. Now it's on it.
Exactly.
It's.
Yeah. It's fun though. The cool thing about TikTok is they have algorithms that really show you what you want to see, and so you define your content. Unlike some of the other, you just see a lot of garbage sometimes. You're like, oh, I'm so tired of seeing this. TikTok is the total opposite of that. So that's what makes it fun.
Gotcha.
So you'll see the stuff that's more age appropriate or topic appropriate to what you want.
Right.
So that way you don't, So at first it's a little bit like, what am I looking at? But then you realize you're getting to control the algorithm. So it's really kind of cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's a smart idea. Well, listen, Ashley, I'll tell you, we'd love to have you on again. This was absolutely terrific. And the next time when we're not hopefully in such a crazy environment, climate, and no pun intended, we can talk more about meteorology, because I'll tell you, I'm a meteorology. I love all of that stuff, and I find it
Cool.
very interesting. So maybe we can get into not conspiracy theory, but also at all, but more the actual unknown, slightly unknown atmospheric phenomena that maybe folks aren't completely aware of, because I love that stuff.
I would love to talk about
that would be a lot of fun. We'll do that next time when we
great.
have you on. And thank you so much for your time. Please, to you and your family, stay safe and stay well.
Thank you. Likewise to you. All right. Take care.
Thank you. Ashley Gann, meteorologist from CBS 42 in Birmingham, Alabama. This is the RV Advisor Podcast. I'm Tom Alexander. Thanks for listening. Stay safe, everybody, and stay home.